Hey guys, what's going on? I'm the Tchenovstok and welcome back to Tchenovstok. In this episode, guys, I am going to be building a large quarry. So this is something I've been meaning to build since the start of this series. I thought it was something that it was pretty much absolutely necessary for the region. And then I figured it was about time that I get into it. So I chose to build it just across the river from the city of Tchenovstok, a little bit out of the way. Of course, it had to be in a hilly area that was still easily accessible. And another reason that I chose to build it over here is that there was some pre-laid down railroad tracks. The railroad was already laid down in the map by default. So this was a perfect location just because of the ease of use of it. It's really close to the airport too, not that it really matters, but I kind of like that, everything is kind of central on this map. So you'll see later on, as I pan over the entire map, you'll notice that none of the builds that we've done in Tchenovstok are really close to the borders of the map. Everything is kind of central, and it makes it super easy to make some really awesome cinematics. You don't really have to worry about clipping the edge of the map or, any weird, not very cinematically pleasing things like that. You can just kind of get any angle you want and it looks good. This quarry here, I really don't know much about quarries other than the fact that they're just these big holes where, dirt and other materials are collected. So in this quarry, I'm actually going to make it like a quarry / a coal mine. The reason why I'm doing that is there's just so many coal mining props and assets and whatever the case may be on the workshop. It kind of made sense to use those props in this build. There's not a whole lot of quarry specific items on the workshop, so might as well just make both of those in this area. We can almost say this was a quarry, but coal was discovered here at some point, so we just began mining the mountain, and wherever there's coal, it was collected, and wherever there was dirt, it was also collected. This quarry altogether is going to be two separate parts. Part of it is going to be abandoned. So the part that I'm working on right now is part of the abandoned section of it. So basically, this area was dug out, and whatever materials were needed have all been excavated, so the land has been just kind of left as it is. So you'll see in a little bit, I'm going to add some bushes and stuff just to make it look abandoned, whereas the rest of the mine is still operational, and there's going to be dirt everywhere and machinery and whatnot. I kind of screwed up though. I should have made this quarry a little bigger. So I downloaded a whole bunch of props of these giant cranes and these giant excavators, way bigger than what you would conventionally find. And I was planning on using those, this big Russian Soviet equipment. It would look cool and it would kind of be fitting for this kind of area. That was my initial plan. But I never bothered to plop any of those props down prior to building this quarry. So I built the quarry, and then later on in this episode, I don't think I included that footage in this episode, but basically I laid down one of these pieces of machinery, and it was bigger than both quarries put together. It was massive. It was the size of a large building in the game. And I figured, well, I'm not going to restart the whole thing and just make everything 10 times bigger to be able to fit this machinery. Because it was only one piece of machinery, a big excavator that wouldn't fit in the mine. Every other prop that I had downloaded fit just fine. So I figured, well, you know what? I'm not going to rebuild this whole mine just for one piece of equipment. So then I figured, well, I'm just going to make do with what I have here. And also part of this quarry is going to be a large rail yard. So with all the coal that's being excavated from this land, it all has to be brought elsewhere, of course. So this rail yard here just leaves a place to leave all the empty carts and all of, the rail equipment and stuff off to the side. as per usual, I'll build all the infrastructure and roads and whatnot for a build, and then I'll go on over to the props and things, which is what I'm going to start doing right now. As you can see, these cranes are pretty massive. I call them cranes, but I know they're excavators really that work similar to a crane with like cables and stuff. Anyways, so you can tell that those are pretty massive as they are. There was one sort of digger that I wanted to place down that was like 5 times the size of that. So in no way would it ever have fit in this quarry. Actually, like it was even bigger than that. It was massive. But yeah, unfortunately I can't place that down. I don't think I'm going to get to place that down either in the Tchenovstok series, because we're kind of wrapping things up pretty soon here. I think I'm going to wrap up the series, not next episode, but probably one more episode after that. That'll be the end of Tchenovstok, but I can assure you guys that I'm going to start working on some other really great projects. And one of the reasons why I am going to end Tchenovstok eventually, well, sooner rather than later, I'll be honest with you guys, is right now the way that I'm making these series, because right now I have 3 active series as of the time of making this video, which means I have 3 separate Steam accounts, so I can totally have different asset collections on the workshop. This is just one of a couple of different methods you can use to creating multiple series like this. I just found that having separate accounts is the easiest way to go. But yeah, one of the trade-offs of that is, you know, I don't really want to have 5 accounts or 6 accounts for all the series that I'm ever going to make. So what I have to do is recycle one of my Steam accounts. So right now I have my main account, which is used for the Timbuktu series. I have a secondary account which is used for this, and a separate account that's used for the Argamel series that doesn't have any assets. It's only like, I have like 10 mods and that's it. Tchenovstok is kind of the best contender to move on to something else. Not only that, is Tchenovstok is not a big city by any means, so it's not going to be a big metropolis that I'm going to spend 2 years working on. It's not going to like spread out all the way across the map, and it's not going to be like that kind of project. So we're done the Tchenovstok city. Right now I'm just building a few little dots or a few little places of interest around town, you know, just to dot the map with these really cool things. Once that's done, then we'll have to move on to something else. But don't be discouraged, guys, because the series that I have planned coming up in the next few months or weeks, whenever it is really, it won't disappoint. I can assure you guys that it's going to be a very cool project. It's going to be a little different, something that really hasn't been done yet in City Skylines, so I'm kind of excited to get started on that. But yeah, I mean, in the meantime, guys, we have like probably 2 more episodes of Tchenovstok after this one. To be honest, I'm not really sure what's going to happen in those episodes. So one of the things I wanted to maybe build in Tchenovstok was a hydro dam. And other than that, what was the other thing? There was something else I can't remember right now. But anyways, we'll see how everything goes. I think there's going to be 2 more episodes of Tchenovstok. But anyways, back to what's going on in the game right now. So, like I said, I'm not too familiar with how quarries work down to like the ground level, right? I have a high level understanding of how they work and what their purpose is and all those things. But, you know, that's really the extent of it. But what I made here is, of course, we have the railroad that's coming into the quarry. And then we have this processing building that, you know, allows you know, coal and dirt and whatnot to be loaded onto the trains. But what I don't really know is like how they make their way from the ground into trucks into this processing facility. So I don't know if there's like another crane that lifts it out of the trucks and, you know, into the rail carts. That process I'm not really familiar with, so I'm just kind of going blindly here, I guess, just plopping down a bunch of random things and hoping it makes sense, really. But honestly, as long as I get the overall look of a quarry, I'm really happy with that. As long as like I can zoom out of this area and show it to somebody and have them say, oh, that's a quarry, that is what it takes to make my day. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think down in the comments on how this whole thing looks. Alright, so for the last little part of this episode, we're actually going to get into the quarry itself. One thing that I had to do, though, is play around with the theme editor, or theme manager, I think it's called, to play around with some textures. So for whatever reason, see, I'm using the Coos Bay theme, and both the ore and agriculture areas, I guess, I'm not sure what exactly they're called, but they didn't really change the texture of the ground. They just removed the sprites, and that was about it. Maybe added a little bit of like a yellow texture, but that was really it. So using the theme manager, I had to change that and apply another theme to the ore area, like the natural resource areas is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure like from what theme this texture is. I actually really like the look of it. It just so happens that it matched really well with the terrain here. I was kind of worried that I was gonna have to close the game and go hunting for a theme and, you know, trying a bunch of different things. But no, I mean, this is like one of the first textures that I found and gave a try to, and it just fit perfectly. And I like how it kind of fades in and out of like the default theme of this map. It was really easy to work with, honestly. So this is what I chose, and so what this is right here, this is the abandoned portion of the mine on that side here. So you can see that I just laid down a bunch of trees within the quarry itself. I'm gonna add a little pool of water down in the middle in just a minute here for realism, and the rest of the mine is going to like have some rocks and little debris, maybe some little shrubs and stuff here and there. But overall, I'm gonna leave everything pretty much blank. I find that the cliff textures are already super good as they are, so I didn't really feel the need to texture anything further. Just like some foliage all over the place really adds to it enough to where I find it satisfactory. One thing that I did not include was I laid down some power lines, because of course I had to provide power to this whole thing. And I had to make sure that the power lines were high enough to where these big dump trucks could fit under. So that's just one little detail that I added. But all in all, that's just about it, guys. That does it for the quarry. So there's going to be some cinematics coming up right here in a second, so stay tuned for that. And other than that, that is going to be it for this episode. So I thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe for many more videos like these coming out. And with that being said, guys, until the next episode, please take care.